Yesterday I posted a video on Facebook, and I had 20 shares by the time I got back home today, and people wanting to know how to make char cloth. And char cloth is an amazing material. So I hope you can see this, but I went to the river today, got some river rock, busted it up with a hammer, and I took my homemade steel striker with me. And char cloth is if you want to take a tiny spark and magnify that spark, enhance that spark by 1,000,000-fold to create a fire, how do you do that? And so with river rock, bust up some river rock. It has to be hard, it has to have a sharp edge. Take your char cloth, take your steel striker, and if you can get a tiny spark to touch that spark cloth, you may be able to see the sparks, but unless it actually touches the cloth, it won't. There we go. Got it going right there. Took a little bitty spark, a little tiny spark. And now if you could take this, that's that red there, that's 5,000 degrees. And if you could put it in something like this, like I went out in the woods and I also got this cedar bark and I crumpled it all up. And if you were to put this in here, smother it just a little bit and blow on it, there you go, then you get fire. And then if you can put this into a container where you have some maybe leaves, dry leaves and fat wood or something like that, you can really get a fire going. So that one little tiny spark is so incredibly important. And how do you get that little tiny spark? You simply, have some char cloth, strike it against, gee whiz, river rock, for goodness sakes. Didn't even have to have flint. Something like quartz, a hard rock with a sharp edge, and put that char cloth right against the edge. So what I'm trying to show you is the benefits of having a little bit of char cloth. So I've made char cloth. It's easy to make, and people are wanting to know, how do you do that? Well, first of all, you got to get a fire going. And then you need to put wood, kindling in there. In this case, I have some fat wood. I'll have to do a video on fat wood, or you can go to the internet and go to YouTube and just type in fat wood, and there's so much there. Or type in a hobo stove. And David West, I think, has a channel on Facebook, and you can watch his. And of course, my fat wood's already going here. I mean, it's already started. I could put more in there, but see how that one little tiny spark, you couldn't even see it hardly, magnifies itself by 1,000,000-fold when you're looking at the flame you have here. Then, if we will go ahead and put a container containing blue jean material, like this right here. These are just a black pair of blue jeans that old, and I cut it up into these strips. It's not charred yet, and I put it in this tin. As a matter of fact, I didn't even want the Altoids. I just wanted the tin. And then you take that tin and you put, get out of a little smoke there, put a little hole right there, punch a hole with your ice pick. And what happens is, when you do that, it will actually then char the material. And it will let the gases escape through that little tiny hole, but it won't let oxygen in. And so that char cloth creates this kind of a thing. And so you can see why char cloth is really neat. And of course, it helps to have a bundle here that you could actually, put the char cloth in the tinder and blow on it and get it going. But you can see that this is really going. And so what I would need to do then, take this char cloth that I have right here and put it in there. I haven't punched a hole in it yet, so I don't want to do this. I'm saving this. But you can use any kind of a can, a tuna fish can, and or a soup can, if you can get that lid off just right. And you can make all kinds of things that you can char. As a matter of fact, you can even char. What's it called? Oh, that wood that's punkwood. You like punkwood. This is punkwood. It's rotten, totally rotten. And don't take regular wood. Take this stuff. It's so light and fluffy, airy. And you can take this and char it. And I've done that, and I've put it in this tin right here. That's charred. And then I can put a spark into that can, and then, you know, and it'll start igniting everything there. And then I just put this on top of it, blow on it, and I can start this. And then I put my lid back on this charred punk wood, and it goes out. And I can use it again and again. And I can keep making more punk wood char. And so that's kind of the interesting way to do it. But again, to take a spark and to be able to create this kind of a thing with one little tiny spark, char wood makes that really, really possible. And there's, of course, lots and lots of ways to make fire. And, you know, with a striker and other kinds of things that people talk about. Just go to YouTube if you want to know more about fire making, and it can be a lot of fun. But hey, go to the river, take a hammer, and take a striker. You know, you can get a striker, make your own like I did, or you know, you can buy them. And when you do that, then of course you just go and you check it out. Like I have all kinds of rock here. I don't know that you can see this, but get a sharp edge and just check it out. Oh, see the sparks there? See? Sparks. And that's not flint. That's just river rock. Sharp edges, but it needs to be hard. And of course, once that edge is gone, it won't strike as well, but just keep using a different edge. And so if you don't have flint, there's plenty of rock around that you could probably use. So once you put it in, once you put a container like this into the fire, and it needs to be in a flame, not into coals, put this in there, and it'll start smoking, and smoke will start coming out this little hole. And when it stops coming out of that hole, then it's done. Then take it out, put it on the ground, and it only takes about 5 minutes to totally cool off. Then get some char cloth and see if it'll start up. See if that char cloth will then take a spark, and then you're off and running. But I like these Altoid containers because they're just handy to have. And I can put about 16 pieces of denim into one of those things, and then it's going to last me quite a while. And I love playing with this stuff, so I'm always taking out a piece, and I'll take that char cloth and make it into a little tiny square, see if I can spark it. And I just keep practice sparking against rock. That was one of the most difficult things I learned to do. I don't know why, but now I can do it with no problem all the time. So just to show you again how you'd put that char cloth on a rock, let me just show you here. Well, that's the punk wood. Let's see. Yep, there it is. Okay, so here it is. See if I can get in there close. Take an edge. Let's see, where am I? Yeah, take an edge, a sharp edge, and then take and fold over that char cloth with the jagged edges right there. Fold it over. Put that right against the edge of that sharp rocky ledge, and then that's where you're going to strike. You're going to strike right there, and get that char cloth has to be right against that ledge, right against that sharp place. And if that doesn't look like it's going to work so well, turn your rock over and find a place where it will get right up against that edge, like right there, and then strike that sharp edge right there. But again, make sure that char cloth is right against that edge, and it'll take a spark. And you'll be doing this, and you'll have so much fun at it. Look, I'm new at this too. We can all learn to do this. There's so much stuff out there to learn to do. And I offered a class the other day, and it was a 2-hour class on how to create fire by char cloth, and I showed people how to make char cloth and how to strike a rock, and there's just so much fun out there to learn these skills. So I hope this has been helpful to you, and I hope you enjoyed it. And this is a nice heat. I love this. Oh yeah, find out from David West how to make a hobo stove, and he does all the things that I'm showing you here. He does it on his channel on YouTube, David West. Go there and check him out. I'm Perry Rush, by the way, and I haven't posted anything like that on YouTube. All my YouTube stuff has to do with growing persimmons and muscadines and stuff like that. Okay, catch y'all later.